You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
How firm thy friendship. Oh, how
you know what time it is. On raw with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lames. Yeah, you know what time it is. Come brawl with them boys of the fall. Covered in gray and scarlet, massive. Stiff arms to your jaw, we breaking it. We sick of seeing you clowns with the crown, we taking it.
What's up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boys, where we talk college football with real fans. I'm Melo. That's Mecah. Today we got a banger for you. We're going to be talking about 2026 recruiting and the impact of reclassing, not just on Ohio State itself, but on the players as well. So before we get started, I just wanted to ask Mecah, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. You know, I had to run around today. My daughter wanted to get her varsity letter, even though she lettered freshman year, so 2 years ago. We actually decided to buy her a jacket this year. I guess it's better late than never. So I had to run up money and all her paperwork up to the school for her and help her design her jacket. They have so much more options than when I was a kid, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I was an academic letterman. We didn't do the jacket thing.
Yeah.
But
yep.
That's really cool. You must be really proud.
Yeah, she's pretty excited. So today, Mecah, we're going to be discussing reclassification. And is there any specific names out there that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I got a few. Haven Finney. He's a cornerback out of Sierra Canyon High School. And Ethan Booby Feaster. He's a wide receiver from DeSoto, Texas.
So let's start with Haven Finney. So Haven Finney, they had 247 had them listed as 6.5 feet, 170 pounds. He's on a composite, the number 11 quarterback in the country, number 12 player in California, and nationally the number 95 player. I think this is a little outdated. Might be a little bit taller and heavier now, but going off of his height and weight, what are your expectations of Haven Finney? Do you think it was a good thing that he reclassed from the 27 class to the 26 class?
Judging by the interviews I've seen him do and things, I think he's at least 6'1", maybe 6'1.5", and he's very, very fast and very rangy, and does a good job meeting wide receivers and getting ahead of their routes. He's already had, I think, 4 or 5 interceptions last year, and he also does a little bit of work at wide receiver and does kick returns too. So he's extremely athletic.
Yeah, we can never have too many kick returns. I'm looking here and I see that he ran a sub 1100 meter, which is crazy. He ran a 10.81 and was the anchor of his team's 4x100 relay, which means this kid can get up and go, and he can really move. So, I mean, there's never such thing as too much speed. So my question about him, now that he reclassed, I do think we have a very high chance of landing him. How does that affect things with, like, say, Albert Hill and other cornerback targets that we have in the class? How does he fit into that? Do you have an idea?
They're both extremely competitive, and I know they want to play. They both said they want to play on the strongest teams they possibly can. So I'm just going by the word, but I don't think either one would be scared off by the other.
Yeah, that's true. How many cornerbacks do you think we take in this class? Because isn't there another cornerback in the state of Ohio in that 26 class that's pretty highly ranked?
There's Victor Singleton, and we got Jacob Weatherspoon, but he can also play safety. So I think we're pretty good. And Singleton is already committed to Illinois. I'd like to flip him back, but I don't know if that's gonna be possible.
See, you just answered my question. I was going to ask you, do you think we could flip him? I'm hoping that we could flip him because he is pretty elite, and I would hate to see him waste over in Illinois, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it hurts my heart a little bit that we lost him to Illinois of all places. But
Yeah, I wonder what that was. Why do you think he chose Illinois? Did he come out and say?
I just don't think he felt the love from Ohio State that he was getting from Illinois. I don't know for sure, but that's the vibe I got from things I've read. That
Mhm.
we were not slow playing him, but we weren't on him every day like Illinois was.
I mean, it's kind of hard to be on kids every day when you're competing to win a natty. So, I mean, you're kind of busy, you know.
Absolutely.
So,
mean,
I think that's a good reference point with Haven Finney to jump into the next guy you wanted to talk to. Can you introduce him to us?
Ethan Booby Feaster. He's
Yes.
a wide receiver from DeSoto, Texas high school, and I really like him because I think he could play inside or outside, and they use him a lot in the backfield too, on like end rounds and stuff, and he's super fast.
He
Kind of
really is.
reminds me of like a combo between uh Mylan Graham and Garrett Wilson.
Oh, wow. I love that comparison actually, because I'm looking at his highlight reel right now, and that kid is fast. He ran a 11.2900. And people, before you go ahead and start being like, that's not that fast, that's average speed. Well, that kid did it in the 7th grade. That's what a lot of seniors are running right now. Like, can you imagine being that fast in 7th grade? You're fast enough to step on and run high school varsity track as a 7th grader.
Yeah, definitely. And he's pretty physical too. Like he can break tackles for someone his weight and stuff.
So my question to you about Ethan, what are the chances? Where do you think Ohio State ranks, if you had to guesstimate right now, ranks in terms of his top list of
I
schools?
think if we push for him, we can definitely land him. But the question is, are we really gonna push for him? Because I know that Brian Hartline was one of the coaches that said, "Hold up, maybe we think the we reclassification," but he seemed to appreciate Hartline's honesty. So I think if Hartline would have pushed for him, we could get him.
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot to mention. So on the 247 composite, he's the number 6 wide receiver nationally, number 7 player in Texas, and number 45 player overall. So I just wanted to get that out. He's listed as 6 feet and a half, 175 pounds. And you know, these aren't always the most current measurements. So just take it with a grain of salt. But either way, I mean, the speed translates and correlates with him, regardless if he's 6 feet and a half or he's 6'4". That is a kid that can fly. He is quick. And like Mika said, Garrett Wilson and Mylan Graham combination, that's a superior athlete.
And you can't really teach speed. I mean, you can teach technique to help increase speed a little bit, but speed's kind of something you either have or you don't have.
That's a valid point right there. Mika, you're always full of some good points that you make. And honestly, can you imagine a 26 wide receiver class of Ethan, Chris Henry Jr., and Caden Dixon Wyatt?
Yeah, that would be awesome. And the thing I really like about Caden is he could also play defensive back for us if we wanted him to. He's very versatile. He reminds me a little bit of Travis Hunter,
Yeah.
but like he doesn't have quite the same hype or the temperament, I would say, as Hunter does, judging by the things I've read about him and the interviews I've watched and things. I think they're all really high character kids and stuff. What worries me about classification and everything, though, is or reclassification and everything is how it's going to affect the kids that are like right on the brink of being elite, and they got someone in the ear constantly saying, "Oh, you're elite, you're elite, you're elite," and what happens when they reclassify and it turns out they're not ready, and that affects their entire career. That's what scares me a lot about all these reclassifications and stuff.
Right, you bring up a valid point, and I mean this is why it's important who you surround yourself with, right? This is why we started Pops Pod over here at the Buckeye Boys, so that way you could get information from two gentlemen that have two of the best. Well, they have the two best players at their position coming out of high school in the country, and you can hear directly from them, and they're willing to answer any questions. But from our perspective, it's kind of a crapshoot because you might dominate high school, and you might even dominate elite high school classifications in different states or around the country. But high school and college are a massive jump. They're two different things. And um, like Mika said, you could jump here and not be ready. It could destroy your confidence. You could end up getting recruited over. You could end up getting portaled over because the transfer portal is a real thing. So let's not forget about that. So, like,
And
go
and
ahead.
in college, you gotta balance. You're not just balancing football anymore. You're balancing life. I mean, I'm not saying all these kids have lives where their parents are doing stuff for them, but like when you're a high school kid, in my experience, your parents are still, you got that to lean on, and especially for these out of state kids that reclassify and stuff, they might not have that support system built in. So it's a little worrisome. But I do have faith in these kids. I'm not saying that I don't. I think they're tremendously talented and they could really make it work if they put in the work and keep a good head on their shoulders.
So, what do you think is mainly driving these kids to reclass? Do you think it's NIL? Do you think it's they want to get to the NFL faster? Do you think it's just they just want to get away from their parents?
I think it's NIL, truthfully, most of it.
Hmm.
And that's the thing that worries me too. Like, I don't want college ball to become just basically NFL light because I love the college game and what it represents. And I think if we go too heavy on the NFL parts of it and the NIL things, we'll lose what makes college football, and it might affect the character of the team if we start bringing in kids that are all about NIL.
Absolutely. Also, another aspect that people are forgetting is by those kids reclassing. I'm not sure if you touched on this or not, but those kids reclassing, that's knocking someone out of a spot that could have been in the 26 class for Ohio State, and it kind of disrupts Ohio State's plans on stacking the class. I think it's equivalent to like when Luke Whippler left early. They had to scramble because they weren't prepared for Luke to leave early. And that's when they went and got Carson Hinsman, which it all ended up working out. But for a little bit, it was kind of scary and frustrating. But at the same time, like they might end up like that in terms of the recruiting cycle. So it kind of resets your board and pushes kids out that you wanted in.
And also to bring up a point to what you're saying is, remember what happened with Quinn Ewers? We didn't really want him to classify, but he was going to anyway, and we kind of got put in a situation where we either had to accept his reclassification and just, you know, work work with it, or we were gonna lose him, which we ended up doing anyway.
Yeah, that's a
So
very valid point.
so I'm a, I don't want these situations to turn into something like that, and that's what concerns me about it. I have absolutely no problem with the talent. It's the other factors that are concerning.
So for me, I definitely heed your warning that you're saying right now, and I think other kids should as well. And I think not just the kids, but the coaching staff should. And I think maybe that's why you're getting some of the reactions from the coaching staff that you're getting. But at the same time, it's the only good positive that I can see in terms of that Quinn Ewers situation compared to these two is just the position. So you play more than one wide receiver at a time, and you could rotate wide receivers. You play more than one cornerback at a time, you could rotate those cornerback positions as well. But quarterback, you're only playing one, and you're not rotating unless that quarterback is injured or hurt or sick or something went terribly wrong. So that's the only thing that I can see where if they did commit in the 26 class, I wouldn't see them jumping ship. But at the same time, if you're reclassing, do you want to go to a wide receiver room where you got to grind it out and you got to earn it and improve it every single day of the week, every moment that you're waking, whether it's on the field, off the field, in the classroom, whatever, how you're just living in general? Do you think those kids would be patient enough to go through that process to come out on the other end the most developed that they can possibly be and ready to go ahead and start day one for any NFL team?
And it's simple as this. It depends on the kid.
Yeah,
Everybody's different. Everybody comes from a different situation, different family situation, different background. It depends on the kid. And I'm not knocking any of them. I hope people don't think that I am. I'm not. I would make the same decision for my family if I had the chance. That's not
yeah,
what I'm saying. It's just I don't want to see these ultra talented kids get into a situation over their head and then their entire career gets wrecked because they made the wrong decision. That's why I
absolutely.
like, that's why I like the Pops Pod. Great show. I learn a lot from them. I love that they're on.
Absolutely. So for every Quinn Ewers story, you also have the opposite, right? You have the Sonny Styles story, where Sonny Styles reclass came in early, and from the moment he sent Darnell Washington and ended his playoff experience for UGA, the 6'7", 255-pound mammoth of a man, and he hit him in the Peach Bowl and sent him to the hospital. Sonny Styles has been like a rocket ship, and I'm expecting huge things for him this year. I think he's going to be the best linebacker in the country.
And I think a lot of that has to do with his dad too, because his dad was a high level athlete and he could kind of get in his ear and tell him, hey, what to expect and to be patient. And because he was willing to sit and learn, and it he didn't start off right away being an all world guy, and he has all that potential now, and he's even favored to be the Block O this year. Did you read that?
Yeah, I assumed he was going to be the block O personally, honestly. I mean, if you think about it, who else you're going to give it to?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I expect him to be the block O. I wonder if he's going to wear it or if he's just cemented to the number 6 and he wants that. But I hope he wears it and represents well. Also, it goes to show to the linebacker room and Coach Laurinaitis and how elite he is as a linebacker coach in his development process. I'm expecting to see big things out of that room in general. So, I mean, like I said, it's always risky to reclass for not just the school, but also for the player themselves. I feel like you see it in the Quinn Ewers. Yes, he's going to be a draft pick, but He's not going to be a first rounder that he would have been if he would have stayed at Ohio State, and he got impatient and left. So that's one area where it can backfire. Then you can have the opposite area where it works out. Like Sonny Styles is going to probably be the best linebacker in the country next year.
Yeah.
So it's always a crapshoot. You need to have the right support system around you, the right advisors around you when you're trying to make a decision like that. And you need to make the right decision in terms of where you're going to go and what you're looking for. It can't just be all NIL based. Otherwise, you might get lost in the sauce, and 3-4 years later, people forget that you even played football, you know?
Yeah, like Oregon. Sorry, had something in my throat there.
That's fine.
But to your point, again, I think that it will all depend on the team they pick too. Like a team like Ohio State has dealt with the situation before, and we've proven that we can make it work if these kids are willing to put in the time and effort to be on the field. So, and I think they will.
Absolutely. So on that note, Mecah, I think this was a good episode. Hopefully if you're a kid out there and you're watching and you're thinking about reclassing, or you're a parent or an advisor, Friday, Pops Pod drops at 8:30 on this channel. Just set up a subscription, just sub to our channel and hit that notification bell, and you won't miss any episodes. And you can watch them live, and you can hop in the live chat, and you can ask them any questions that you want, as long as it's not pertaining to Ohio State football or what's going on in the program right now. We will not give you insider information. They will not give you insider information on that. But any type of recruiting question that you have, drop it in the chat, and they will answer it. So, Mecah, I hope you have a wonderful day. I got a few things I have to take care of. And on that note, go Buckeyes. OH.
Hi.